Hello and welcome to Tarot Time. Welcome to the Medium channel. So if you guys that are watching this as a video or for the live people, what we do on Sunday mornings is we have a tarot reading for the week that could be tapping into some personal information for you or some community stuff or global information. We have other divination cards. We talk a little bit about current events and how that affects us as a community and individually. And all I have to say is OMG. That's all. I've got a few pages of notes that I'm going to dive into in a minute. And for those of you that are new that are coming in, especially the live people, Tarot Time's kind of become a bit of a community event. So it's sort of evolved into a little bit of an exchange of ideas through the live chat, through the comment stream. The only thing that I ask is that everybody be respectful of other people's opinions, as not everybody may agree with you. So you want to keep this happy and civil and all that good stuff. So yes, OMG. I even on Facebook and other social media, I'm seeing people posting something feels really different from the end with the energy. Something is really going on. Something's really different. And all of these posts have like comment streams a mile long. Everybody's feeling the changes. We've been talking about the changes for years here, not just me, other people that are in tune to the frequencies of what's going on. But a lot of us have been talking about it, and now we're here. So a lot to talk about. We've got suspicious fires in Maui in Canada. Um, Prayers to California. The desert's about to receive over a year's worth of rain in 24 hours. Deserts are not equipped to handle water. There's no what's the right word? There's no absorption of moisture into the soil. It all runs off. So 3 inches of rain in the desert, especially the mountainous terrain, is the equivalent of getting a foot of rain in the Catskills. That's what they're looking at. So lots of prayers there. But anyways, let me have a drink of water and I'm going to dive right on it. Well, I'll say a few quick hellos. And some of you are asking me to share some of my experiences at Lilydale's. By the way, did you guys miss me? Yeah, we kind of went on a pause for a week on the channel. But last event that we had was last Sunday at Tarot Time. So let me put on the glasses and hi, Anna. Hi, beautiful souls. Hi, Angel. Hippie City Healing. Welcome. I like that. I see there's already a delay in the upload. Hi, who? Hey, who? Hi again, Angel. Joyful blessing, people. Yes. Jai Ma. Hare Krishna. Yes. Joyful Rising. Hi, Rose and Yvonne, and hi, Dora. Good morning, and hi, Jody and MT and Millie, and anybody else that's on that hasn't commented yet. Hi to you guys also. So I see people are slowly coming on. People are slowly finding us. So that's good. So where do we begin? Well, let me start out with just we'll sort of warm up to things. So this week we have Mercury stationing going retrograde right as the sun goes into Virgo. So the sun's going to be at 0 degrees Virgo. Um, Mercury itself is going to be 21 degrees Virgo as it starts its retrograde. So I wrote a few notes about that also. I can't keep anything in my head anymore. Oh, here we go. Here are the notes. Just that this is going to be a good time to start to really deep dive into the shadow work. Our shadows are getting triggered by what's going on out there. Is that by design or just happening? I don't know, but it is happening. And the thing is, zero's the void. So Mercury's going. I mean, the sun's going into Virgo. That's more of it's intellectual, but it's more of like a healing vibe, kind of an internal energy in a way. It's sort of the more pensive side of Mercury, where Gemini's the more active side of Mercury. So when anything's at 0 degrees, it takes us to the void or that realm of non-existence that all reality evolved out of. So this is going to be a really good retrograde to do that shadow work, to clear all those old programs. The less programs you have, the less the powers that be can trigger that programming and kind of force you into negative emotions, negative responses, negative reactions, all that stuff. So deep dive into shadow work, healing. Messages will surface from deep within the subconscious. That's one element of this week. Now, let's talk about Maui, shall we? Lots floating around in social media. My take on conspiracy theories. I don't talk a lot about anything that's unproven here on the channel. Yes, I'll mention it. Yes, I'll mention the theories. But until I know something that's fact, I'm not going to say this happened. Now, that said, and you guys are intelligent, you can make up your own minds about things as long as you have the facts. And sometimes those facts are hard to come by. But this fact came up on iHeart News. Yes, I look at the headlines on my apps. And there's a very interesting quote here from Jennifer Pribble, Senior Research Coordinator at the Conservation Center in Maui. And what she said is, I think that is when a tree is fallen on a power line. She's talking about the flash. So she sees a flash. I didn't write that part down. And she says, I think that is when a tree is falling on a power line. The power goes out. The generator kicks in. The camera comes on, back online, and the whole forest is on fire. So basically, it takes a couple of seconds for a generator to kick in and the cameras to come back online. At the very most, a minute or two. So a tree falls on a power line hits the grass or the trees or whatever, and then a whole forest is ablaze in a matter of seconds. So there's a lot to unpack there in that short statement coming from an official. And yes, they're not going to admit that maybe there was a direct energy weapons or a laser attack on Maui. I mean, they wouldn't know that, but let's use our heads. Is that possible? I don't know. There were strong winds happening. Things were pretty dry. There was a tropical storm in the area, funneling in, tropical storm force gusts, anyways. But should we hypothetically say these fires being started for some nefarious reasons or whatever, they wouldn't pick a day that the fire wouldn't spread. So anyway, so that's Exhibit A. I'll leave that with you guys, and there's a lot of other little tidbits of things that are going on. So when it comes to conspiracy theories, a lot of them become conspiracy facts, right? Um, like for example, a year ago or a year and a half ago, I might get a video taken down if I talk about things like natural immunity being equal to or even better than the immunity that you can get from a vaccine for COVID. Now, numbers prove that that's true now. So it's no longer a conspiracy theory. It's actually a fact. And the lab leak theory is still a theory, but it's the most prevalent possible cause. Now, interesting thing also is that I've heard through the grapevine that our former, and I may get the initials wrong, NSADS, I don't know, Anthony Fauci, may receive an indictment. And I'm hoping for that because there is documented proof that of mishandling of a pandemic, of a global health crisis. And the mishandling circumstantially will lead us to believe that there's an agenda that's going to serve the very rich and wealthy at the expense of the very poor. Now, when looking at conspiracies, theories, follow what's the right word? Connect the dots and understand the patterns that we've seen for decades that follow the money, follow the corrupt flow of power, and you may have a pretty good idea of how to connect the dots with things. So let me look into. I have like a whole freaking page of notes here. So have you guys heard of BlackRock Investment Asset Management? Look that up and see where they're stepping in when it comes to these natural disasters or whatever. They're known to buy real estate. I'll put it that way. Currently, Bill Gates owns more farmland than anybody, I believe. I don't have the numbers. If something I'm saying is a little bit inaccurate, you can correct me. That's allowable. Um, but look into that and their role. So basically, on the Medium channel and people like me, we want to give information or bring information out for you to find out your own truths. We know that you're intelligent, and it's perfectly fine to question anything that I'm saying, because as long as something's not proven, it's subject to debate. So let me see who benefits from these events, and at the detriment of who. So we can kind of look at that. So what could hypothetically happen in Maui? Now, what's it called? Lahaina is sacred indigenous grounds, right? And it was housing to people that were not all affluent people. The affluent people like Oprah Winfrey or all the others, they weren't in that area. Their houses were not affected, by the way. So what could happen? They could rebuild, and they could price the land up, or they could introduce AI smart cities, I think they're called. And you can bet your bottom dollar that global warming is going to get blamed for this and the fires in Canada. So that's a whole other topic. 200 fires sprung in one day in eastern Canada. And of course, there were dry conditions. Of course, it was windy. If hypothetically these fires were started intentionally, they're not going to pick a day that fires aren't going to spread. They're going to pick a day where conditions are as close to ideal. Dry thunderstorms were to blame for 200 fires in eastern Canada in one afternoon. Now, the satellite depictions that I saw, that you can't find anymore, by the way, showed the sky being clear and just showed plumes of smoke coming up. So this was the visible satellite. No clouds were visible from the depictions that I saw. Now, again, this is just what I saw. It doesn't mean that that's the truth. And as a meteorology major, I graduated in 1980. I know darn well that to get one dry thunderstorm in eastern Canada on any given day is an epic event. To get 200 strikes from dry thunderstorms in eastern Canada, dry thunderstorms can only happen on what's called high-based thunderstorms. That happens out west. And there's a natural fire cycle out west. There's even a tree called the fire pine that assists on forest fires. We're talking about eastern Canada, and 200 fires in one day. Could it be natural? Anything's possible, I suppose. What are the odds? You hear about the odds about winning the Mega Millions. I'll leave it at that. So anyway, again, who benefits from these events at the detriment of what? Now, also, we've known about global warming. It's been a fact. Yeah, and it is a fact, by the way. Sorry to say for people that don't believe it. Scientifically, it is a fact. We've known about that. The models by 1980 were very known. It was scientifically proven that the Earth is warming, and if it continues to warm, this is going to happen. Now, who was in charge of the oil companies? What families ran the oil industry? There was something called the petrodollar, and I don't know if Michael Maher is on. He can tell us the dates when the United States was actually on the petrodollar as a validation for the value of the dollar. Basically, I know the Bushes were very connected to the oil industry. Now, global warming, yes, I believe it's a real thing. That said, is it enhanced? Is it created? Or is it exploited? Now, who's going to benefit from global warming? Think Tesla. Think of the CEO in Tesla. Again, follow the money, follow the corrupt flow of power. By the way, there's reports that usually get squashed about electric vehicles catching on fire. And so we have like all these fires in Canada. Now we have a big fire in Maui. The same summer that big improvements have been made on electric vehicles. So again, who's going to benefit from that? Look at the pandemic. Who benefited? The pharmaceutical companies benefited. The tech farmers, the tech companies benefited. There's a war in Ukraine. Who benefits? Lockheed Martin benefits. Raytheon, the defense contractors, benefit from that. And from all the circumstantial evidence available, all these corporations form a web of corruption that rules this planet. So again, my theory, my take. I'm not putting this out as fact. That's for the YouTube algorithm, as well as you guys understand that. So let me see what you guys are saying. Um, and Lakeside Laura saying there's also theory that plates are shifting all over the planet, and that is true, and fires come from that. Dutch scene is interesting to watch. The planet is shifting physically, earthquake, volcanoes. Right. We have to understand that there are possible natural events that are going on also. Dara saying it's really suspicious. I agree. Yvonne saying um, they showed an overhead view, and all along the line of the ocean, the wealthy homes were not touched. So that's true. Um, from what I understand, also. Isn't Maui the heart chakra? I believe Oahu's the heart chakra, Maui's the sacral chakra, but I could be mistaken with that. I do know that the Big Island is the root chakra. That much I do know from spending time there. Uh, Circle above. Wow, that's kind of cool. BlackRock, Vanguard. Thank you for that. Raytheon, Bard, thank you for that also. And thank you for the reminder. It is really important that we keep positive energy going. The thing is that we want to be aware, and we want to know what's going on, but we want to be in our heart centers, and we cannot buy into fear. That's a lot of what goes on with the agendas. Understand that some conspiracy theories are not real, and I do believe that those powers that want to control everything have invoked a lot of fear, a lot of panic, a lot of worry amongst the people, and really bizarre things. So again, use your discernment. How do you do that? You go into your heart. We talk about that every live stream on the Medium channel. Learn how to cultivate the frequencies of the heart. Learn how to blend the heart and the brain frequencies. That's called heart-brain coherence. And when those organs are blended, then you become immune to subconscious programming. You're able to gain spiritual information born out of compassion, born out of love, not born out of fear and anger and guilt and shame, which are the low vibration. And then you have a pretty good idea of what's going on. So thanks for bringing that up. You know, I got 3 times from Spear with hair standing. I've had to tell that it was DEW. That's defense energy weapons. For those that don't know what DEW is, mediums know that messages can nag when not acknowledged. It was nagging once I acknowledged it. I'll tell you one thing to maybe validate that possible impression is that as soon as I heard about it, I just got that feeling, that no feeling, like this is more than just a natural event. So I got that intuitively also. Happy Sunday. All right, all right. And Shyla saying, Shyla, I arrived at the word shadow work. That's what I am. I like to call it shadow integration work, because we don't want to separate from our shadows. Our shadows are part of who we are. They're just hidden. But as long as we're not aware of our shadows, they can run the show. And a lot of the shadows are based on negative subconscious programming, and sometimes ancestral lines. Shadows can evolve, cultural lines, and all that kind of stuff. And Tammy Lane saying, unfortunately, they are going after our sacred lands. This is unacceptable. We will flood these dark forces with light. Yeah, really, flood with light. Absolutely. And Angel, have you say, I stay aware, but yeah, exactly. We have to stay in a place of healing. So speaking of which, thank you for that. Speaking of which, California is getting hit with some very heavy rains. Western Arizona, all the way up to Idaho. I mean, maybe the moisture will get up into Canada and help the fires in Western Canada that are also raging out of control, and Oregon. So we can't forget that. Probably Washington State also. So first time that tropical storm warnings have ever been issued for California. So they've had the warning system, I think, since before World War II. So we're talking, 80 years or so. Um, some places like Death Valley could get more rain in 24 hours than they've gotten in their record high year of rainfall. So as I was saying in the beginning, the desert can't handle that. It's just simply, a disaster, a catastrophe in the making. So we know how powerful prayer is and positive intentions. So lots of prayers to California. Maybe we can mitigate some of the flooding. I like to be balanced and talk about the earth also. The earth, a living, breathing organism that needs to reset. Human beings are trashing the earth. There is carbon dioxide that's increasing, that's contributing to global warming. There are trees being burned down. Trees are the lungs of the earth. There's a reason that when you burn wood, it turns black. That's carbon. Why does that happen? Because the trees take in CO2 and they release oxygen. So what's left is carbon. So when you burn the trees, that you have carbon. So it's a very, very simple thing. So back to 1980, when it was known that the Earth's going to warm up, it was known that CO2 levels are increasing due to fossil fuels and other reasons. So what they do, they continue to clear cut forests. They continue to burn fossil fuels, and they wait till there's a full on disaster to say, "Oh, we need to do something about electric vehicles." Well, you know what? Electric vehicles have been available since the 1970s. It's not a new thing, also, and for whatever reason, the technology is anything but perfected, which is why so many people, including myself, that's very environmentally conscious, will not buy an electric vehicle until that technology is upgraded. Then I might consider it. Anyway, what else? What else? Red Height Sharp, Morning Shooting, Lying Star. So I know this is tarot time, but this is stuff that's important that we know. This is all part of it. We'll get into the tarot. So I just wanted to consult my notes for a second. So BlackRock, we talked about that. The events manufactured or exploited. Hawaii will displace. Yeah. A lot of the indigenous and the less affluent people will probably be displaced when they rebuild. Lahaina. No, I don't think I'm even pronouncing that right. Will smart cities replace? We talked about that. Will it become an investment capital for the rich? Interesting. Follow the money, follow the corrupt flow of power. Look at the very wealthy, like Gates buying up 90% of farmland, for example. What does that mean? That small farmers have to be, have to buy into Bill Gates and people like that in order to run farms, and have to do it their way, which isn't always the environmentally friendly way. It isn't always the way that's going to provide the most nutrition and the most food to the people, but it's going to serve a different agenda. So again, it doesn't. I mean, obviously you guys that know me know I'm a big believer in aliens and the star beings and communicating with them. But you don't need to look any farther than human greed and the desire for power over others to get to the bottom of most of these conspiracy theories. I think what happens in other planets or other dimensions is a part of it, yes, but you don't have to look any farther than that. So it hasn't changed a lot since Roman times. It's just things have gotten more sophisticated. So what else? Local farms can't be all right. So we talked about that also. Yeah. We don't talk about unproven conspiracy theories. We talked about that too. I guess I can remember everything, but we don't talk about conspiracy theories until they're proven. I mean, I'll make mention of them, obviously, but I won't have an opinion on them. But we are aware that many conspiracy theories become conspiracy theft. So we must be aware that some information is there to confuse rather than to educate. So don't jump down every rabbit hole that comes up, basically. And it's to spur dissension amongst people rather than fostering community to create positive change. You've heard of the expression, united we stand, divided we fall, right? They want division. Anyway, let's do some tarot stuff. Interesting, yeah, and what you're saying, blindly inspired, I find that really interesting because I really like, what she did in the 90s, with her show. One day it was no longer, polygamists with two heads being interviewed, but people like Gary Zukov, Zukov, and Carolyn Mason, people like that were all of a sudden on her show, and she was saying at the time that she wanted to use her fame to help people to awaken. So it's kind of interesting what you're saying about her buying at Maui lately. I find that very interesting. And all right. So again, we influence the weather. It's conscious. Now there's forces that are influencing the weather, the geoengineering projects that's partially admitted to. There's been weather modification probably since the 1930s, but definitely since the 1950s. So we have a situation where an unseasonable trough off the west coast of Africa is drawing hurricanes, which normally in that latitude move east to west. They can move up the coast, but it's it's unprecedented anyways. I'm getting a little bit animated, aren't I? uh, so, and anyways, I'm missing some of your comment. Oh, you're talking about Oprah. It was such an inspiration for many. Yeah. Um, so, with the politics also, we have to be aware of the programming, the right and the left, two wings of the same corrupt bird, right? Right wing and left wing. We have to understand that, and understand that there is Illuminati style programming involved, and some of these people that we look up to be our saviors, basically. So the what is the solution? Meditate more, get present more, get into the heart more. Listen to other teachers, absorb the information. A Bruce Lee quote that I love is just simply absorb what is useful, disregard the rest. So absorb the information, trust your inner bullshit meter, as it were, or your inner whatever, and discard what doesn't resonate with you. And as you learn more, different things may resonate. It's all part of our growth, but the bottom line is we need to awaken, we need to find unity, and we need to work together to overcome these forces that are causing so much pain and suffering on our planet. Again, it's for the benefit of the minute few, the detriment of the great many. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is history. So we need to wake up and understand that, basically. So there's more, but I definitely, being that this is tarot time, it'd be nice if I could find my tarot cards. Let's do some tarot stuff for the week also. And I'm glad that we spurred on a pretty interesting conversation here also. So this is an interesting point. So I want to flash because it's relevant. When Colorado's on fire, asked listeners to hope for rain, and it flooded, and he never did a mass switch project again. Well, that's unfortunate, of course, but when we work with spirit, it's nice to be specific also. But and I've said this many times. Greg Braden says a piece on this also. How when I used to study the indigenous people and had teachers, how they taught me when we prayed for rain, it rained, but it's not because we asked the creator to make it rain, because then we're just in our mind reinforcing the lack of rain and perpetuating the lack, but rather in our mind we see it raining, we feel it raining, we smell the rain, we feel the plants growing, we feel the crops being nourished, and it always rains. Basically, that's how we pray for rain. That's how we pray for change. We become the vibration of that change, and when enough people do it, the 100th monkey is reached, and then things start to change. That's why that many of the horrible prophecies never came true. It's not because the psychic sucked or anything. If so, I would have to place myself in that category, to be quite honest. It's because the time is fluid. All time's happening in the present. You change the present, you can change the future, and you can change the past also. So in the present moment, we want to vibrate from the heart. We want to vibrate in truth. The truth is in our hearts, because the heart is the access point to our spirit, to our soul, the great spirit. And when we're vibrating in that truth, we become contagious. So negative energy doesn't spread as fast as positive energy. Love is still more powerful than hate and fear. I mean, granted, you can look around you and debate that point, but at the end of the day, love is more powerful. And it only takes 1 to 3% of the population for the 100th monkey to be reached and for the mass awakening to begin. We're getting close. I think 2024 is the tipping point. I think the rest of 2023, there's a little bit of a descent, unfortunately. So let's keep the faith, keep the prayers, keep the positive vibes going, and understand sometimes bad things have to happen in order for good things to follow. And we will hope and pray that as few people or nobody gets hurt in the process. And Journey to Truth. Thank you, Lakeside Laura, and Love Conquers All. Thank you, Jody, for that. Absolutely. So let's do a meditation card. And we can work with this during the coming week. I feel like they're saying, a lot of truths are going to start to come out in the news, especially towards later week and beyond. So we may see some interesting rebuttals and some people that do have some level of what's the word, leverage or pull, starting to speak out about some of these things. Oh, I love this card. The only problem is I've got to hide the naughty bits in order to not in order to not get this video taken down, which would be a shame if that happened. Am I hiding the naughty bits? Okay, I think I am. So this is the star card. Let me fix this. How are we going to do this? I wish I had a piece of tape or something. How are you guys going to see the whole card? Well, I think even with my stubby little finger here, I think you can get a wind of what this looks like. The star is the card that comes after the tower. The tower is key 16. The star is key 17. So when the tower of corruption falls, the star is about inspiration, hope, and spirit that arises. So the way to meditate with tarot cards, the way I recommend, is you get present like any other meditation. Go into your heart, go into your breathing, step into the energy of the card. I like to imagine there's a doorway, and as soon as I step into the card in my mind, I gauge how I feel. So I feel one way before I step in. When I step in, it's a different energy. Gauge how you feel, your emotions, your energy, stuff like that. Then look around and see what else you can see, because this is just the doorway. The image of the card is just the doorway. There's a whole scene, 360 degrees, and there may be guides, there may be messages, there may be things that you're drawn to. But being the energy of the star card, that's about inspiration, that's about hope, that's about optimism. We need that. We need to understand that this is a process and spirit oversees this process. And from a human perspective, it's absolutely awful. People suffer. People are dying in wars. And when we talk about things like conspiracy theories or things like wars or fires in Maui and stuff like that, we always have to be mindful of the human equation. We can't let our compassion for those that are suffering get lost in our fear or anger or whatever it is, wanting to expose the truth and wanting to just kind of key in on the forces that be, harming people. We really want to be compassionate toward the individual, and I know we are. Just what's the expression? A service announcement or a reminder. So if you have your own card, you can use your own deck, but this is minus my finger. This is what the star card looks like. Yeah. Tarot readers have actually gotten their videos taken down because of nudity in the tarot cards. I know. I know. So let's do a 3-card spread. Yeah, yes, we are all adults. Absolutely. The YouTube algorithm, I don't know if it's AI generated yet, but whatever. But yeah, we are all adults. I get it. I'm not shielding this from you guys. It's the YouTube algorithm. the algorithm's not an adult, apparently. It's a machine. uh, and I love the star card too. Thank you. Off-world help. Um, yeah, let me flash this. Certainly, that's a very valid interpretation. Yeah, what do stars have? Star beings, unless you believe, with basically a trillion stars in the universe and billions in this galaxy, that Earth just happens to be the only place where life can evolve. I mean, if you believe that, well, you wouldn't. If you believe that, you wouldn't even be in this video. I have a feeling. Or this channel. You want nothing to do with me, so it's all good. So let's do a 3-card spread also. All right. This pile, not that it matters. I'm just gonna pull cards. This will be, what's, energetically what's coming up for the week. Also, the star card is relevant. I think we're gonna, see messages of hopes. When things are going down, that something needs to rise also. So they show me the number 3. So we, in the next few months, we may see 3 new teachers on the scene, or teachers that have been around gaining a lot more notice. I think one may be like an ex-politician or somebody that has some inside ideas. I was talking about COVID earlier for those that came on, and the conspiracy theory becoming conspiracy fact, and the numbers prove it, that natural immunity is equal to or superior than inoculation immunity. Of course, obviously that necessitates getting COVID, so I understand that side of the argument also. But the point being is that I would have had videos taken down if I said that, as a fact, or it would have been fact checked. Now it is a fact. So so we're evolving. More and more information's coming out. Oh, why did I mention that? Because firstly, again, I'm being repetitive, but Anthony Fauci may get indicted. I heard that. I don't know. It's not a super reliable source that I heard that from, but I do know that there's documented evidence that he received information from experts, virologists, experts, leading experts, validating that the pandemic was mishandled, basically. And why was it mishandled? Well, again, follow the money, follow the corrupt flow of power. Who benefited? Who lost in the deal? I'll tell you who benefited. The very rich are 50% richer. Who lost is us, basically. So anyway, let me clear my mind so that spirit can work through me. Very good. So 1, number 2, number 3. I don't know why I'm thinking of the New York Mets. For fellow Met fans, you have my sympathy. Well, I think that Spears kind of laughing at me, because the Mets are rebuilding. That's why you're thinking of the Mets. They threw in the towel because they knew when to get out of the game, and they decided to rebuild. Interesting cards. They feel a little chaotic to me, to be quite honest, but interesting cards nonetheless. The Temperance card reversed. Temperance, amongst other things, makes me think of reason. So reason is flipping on its head. So again, stay in your lane. There's a lot of intense astrology going on. I didn't dive into it other than Mercury retrograde. Uranus, the planet of surprises, evolution, and revolution, is also stationed, and it's going to start its retrograde movement, I believe, on the 27th or 28th, when I may have the days a little bit off, I want to say. So temperance is about good management, good coordination. It's Archangel Raphael, actually, is the angel that's depicted on the card. So it's about healing. It's about healing the heart. Notice there's a triangle pointing up on the heart. It's red. It's active. But it's reversed. So we're shining our heart light into the earth. So do a lot of earth prayers. I think that's what it's telling us as a community. Obviously, we need it right now. 7 of Pentacles. Pentacles is money, security, the earth. It's reversed. We were talking about farmers, right? Farmers upside down. We were just talking about that. Local farmers in many areas can't farm the way that their parents and their grandparents and their parents, generation of things that work for them, they're not able to do anymore because they've got to buy land from freaking Bill Gates or BlackRock or whoever, whatever it is, and do it their way rather than the ways that they know that works. So, that's just one of many examples. And you know what? People are just not going to take it anymore. That's what's happening. And honestly, I think this whole unfortunate escapade going on, and escapade's the wrong word. I can't think of the right word. This whole unfortunate incident going on Maui, I think is going to open more eyes. I think, if it's an attack by the elite, I think that they were very short sighted with that, because people in the air, they're going to know, like, how is a flash going to make a whole forest catch on fire? I mean, maybe it's possible. There's something that I don't know about, but it just seems highly unlikely. And also, I was hearing reports about the temperatures of the fire, exceeding about threefold what a normal fire would. I mean, it's all hearsay. It's all circumstantial evidence, granted, but when you get hundreds of bits of circumstantial evidence, you start to have to look and start to smell a rat somewhere, right? So I think it's going to um, really open some eyes. But then the Wheel of Fortune comes up. Now the BRICS is meeting what? I don't think Susan is in. I think it, or Michael. Um, Susan Alder, Michael Marr, but I believe the BRICS meeting, that's big, about the economy. I'm not an expert on it. I believe, I shouldn't say I feel, what I've heard is that there's some talk about going back on the gold standard, and gold's always been the standard of wealth. So there's a lot of money things that come up. The Wheel of Fortune is good. It's saying that maybe to reinvest in things or understand the trends of things and reinvest, for you guys that may be worried about money or stuff like that. And something's falling, but the wheel is turning. So as the economy falls, a new economy will take its place eventually. We have an economy and a whole system based on a house of cards, right? um, you can look at many examples. One that I like to cite is that we still openly trade with China, even though they're considered public enemy number one of the whole planet, and apparently big violators of Clean Air Acts and stuff like that. So the Communist Party is what, 70, 75 years old now. Do you think the Western world, had enough time to figure out alternatives to trading with China? So, look at the logic, and you might come to the conclusions that I have, that it's all a big game, basically, and it doesn't follow any real logic. So we have, our economy is built on a house of cards that's benefiting the rich, at the expense of the poor. Same old story. That big bad wolf's going to blow that house of cards down, and then it's going to have to rebuild on a new foundation. So even though the tower card didn't come up, the star card came up earlier. The tower, levels, the tower. It's the lightning struck tower. Key 16 in Chaldean numerology is the shattered citadel. So whatever symbol you want to use for it, it's all associated with that 16 energy. But that 17 energy is Saturn ruled. It's an 8, and it's about hope and inspiration and rebuilding. So this Wheel of Fortune gives us a lot of hope that, especially for people that are worried about their money and the economy, even if things go down, even if we exceed recession and go to depression, there's a divine plan and a divine purpose, and we're going to be okay. And I think that's really, really, really what we have to stay focused on. So some of you getting on more of a local level, one or two of you are going to lose a friend. It's happening every week to some of us anyways. That's okay. You're evolving and growing. People that try to pull you down, bring you down, try to be negative, if they're not reachable and teachable, the only choice is separation, basically. That's okay. people are not going to agree with you. They're not going to agree with me. And the idea is keep an open mind. I know that I don't have all the answers. I'm just, sharing my opinions and things that I've seen that lead to pretty close to ironclad conclusions. I'll put it that way. But the wheel, key 10 is interesting because it's the wheel of fortune. It's a changing of the wheel. It's things are moving. The wheel goes around and around, and through my martial arts training, it became part of just my philosophy in general. The concept of the circle with no circumference. It's an ever-changing, ever-evolving circle of life and energy that we're part of. There's no beginning, there's no end. There's just the present. There's just right now. Where on that circle are you? And how do you go to another place in the circle that you wish to be in? So the Wheel of Fortune has similarities to the medicine wheel teaching, or the medicine teachings from the Native Americans, that we're born into one spot in the medicine wheel, and we see the reality or the center of the circle from that one's vantage point. But we're not supposed to stay in that place we were born. We're supposed to walk the entire wheel and learn to see the center of that circle from a different vantage point. So like my kyanite here looks different if I'm in this part of the circle versus if I go 90 degrees, it looks like this. It's a whole different shape, yet it's the same kyanite. So that's really what we have to really understand that. Yeah. Yeah, thanks for quoting Jerry. This wheel is turning and it can't slow down. Yes, indeed. Lots of very profound wisdom in Robert Hunter and Jerry Garcia's writings and lyrics. Absolutely. Um, and so that's basically that. So, be aware of your money, not fear based, but be okay or reinvesting. I feel like some of you may have to invest in your home. Don't be fear based about money. Understand money's energy and it's of the heart. So the more open we are in the heart, the more attractive we are to wealth, because heart is a wealthy energy. Money is a physical counterpart to spiritual wealth. So, we're programmed to believe this, that, and the other thing. And that's not to say to be stupid and throw caution to the wind and just, oh, well, if money's just going to come to me and it's just energy, I'll just give it all away. Oh, wait, why don't I have any money? No, it doesn't work that way. We have to be balanced, yin and yang. Be in the earth and be in spirit, because the earth is part of spirit and spirit is part of the earth. And understand that everything's energy, including money. So if you're smart with your money and not fear-based, and by following your spiritual path and helping and serving spirit and serving others, you become a magnet for more money, so you can continue to serve spirit and you can continue to make a positive difference. That's really how it works. So let me move on. Let me pull a Native American card for another message, being that it's already 11:50. But I've been away for a week. A lot's happened in this week. Again, OMG, people are really feeling it. And look at social media. You're likely to find some posts like, "I'm feeling so different. Something's really different now. Anybody else feel that?" And you'll see a comment stream like 50 comments long of people validating that. Stay in your heart, connect with conscious community like us. There's others. Be in your heart. You can't be fooled, you can't be programmed. When you're truly in your heart, your bullshit meter, is better. When you're in fear, suspicion, or whatever, it blocks that. And what you think is BS, maybe just your own fears kind of getting in the way. So, why did I say this? Because there's, for every genuine teacher that's really trying to help us, help humanity awaken, there's probably at least 5, if not more like 10, that are really leading people down a rabbit hole that's just a dead end. Basically, it's a lot of their programming projected into their spiritual beliefs. For some and for others, it's deliberate or maybe not consciously. But there is a quote unquote dark force. I don't like dark and light metaphor because there's nothing wrong with dark. But that is the vernacular that people use. There is a dark force. It's the collective human ego, basically. that part of us that's only about our survival of the physical, that ignores the infinite, the spiritual. So we need to acknowledge the physical, but we need to function from the spiritual, basically. um so anyhow, this is the card I was drawn to, Vision Quest. Why does that not shock me? Autofocus is working pretty good today. My technology is always an adventure. um and Vision Quest, it's seven of, it would be the equivalent of the Seven of Cups in the tarot, which I forgot what the symbolism of the Seven of Cups is. Anyway, it'd be the equivalent of that. Well, the number seven is Neptune ruled. It's really about intuition. Cups are about intuition. This could also be like a lot of us maybe need to vision quest into our divine feminine natures. That's not just the men. Some women aren't connected with their divine feminine either. I mean, that could be part of the reason. Let me see what the image is saying. So like the sun is rising, and the figure is kind of looking to the west. So the west is the place of introspection and looking within on the medicine wheel. We talked a bit about the medicine wheel teachings. It's the bear clan, the bear energy. Bears go into hibernation every year, into the cave, into the womb of introspection, to digest the year's lessons, and then to come out in the spring with new knowledge, new birth, new ideas and ideals. Um, Here in the Catskill Mountains, with new and clever ways to rate people's garbage cans. So anyway, they are clever, beautiful beings that are clever. Um, so go on your own vision quest, meditate more, double down, get out into nature. Here in the Northeast today, yeah, and even through Tuesday, I believe are going to be really beautiful days. I'm going to get out into the woods later myself and do my own version of vision questing. So, so that's the message also. I think it's saying that a lot of you are either having awakenings or on the threshold of that. And the more you can just be in your presence and in your power, the more you can trust the information that comes in. And by the way, I don't know when, but I'm going to do a little mini class here on YouTube, a free mini class on a few exercises that you can use to open the door to spirit. Whether you want to connect with your loved ones on the other side, or you want to connect with your ascended masters, or the star beings, the Pleiadians or Arcturians. I'm going to show you a few exercises you can practice. Meditation, and visualizations that you can work with to help you to shift your energy and open that up so that you can receive from them. It might be Thursday. I may do this Thursday, but keep an eye on community chats and stuff like that. I want to check in with Kyle Gray for a second. So I have his angels and ancestors decks right in front of me. So I just was saying about to say that another pandemic is coming. I think that's in the docket around 2005 to maybe 2025. I mean, to 2026. So we'll see. Again, timelines are fluid as we evolve. I believe that they, the elite deep state, we used to call it the grand plan when I was studying all this stuff back in the 80s. Um, so I've been studying this stuff for over 40 years now. So anyways, I don't know if that makes me more qualified to share or not, but it's true. I've been studying this a long time. But in any event, a lot of this stuff was forecast basically. But what the point I was making is that as we evolve, it's almost like in the Hunger Games. What I forgot who, I think it was the creepy Donald Sutherland character. There's talking about moves and counter moves. There's always moves and there's always counter moves. So as they make a move, we make a counter move, and they're adjusting their plans accordingly. There's occult knowledge that's part of this. Now I don't have enough proof to say they're in league with the devil. I understand that that's a pretty valid conspiracy theory that's out there. I don't have the proof to validate that, but I will tell you that they, you can look at your history again. History is a great teacher. You know, behind the history books, you have a country, the United States we're talking about now, that was founded by Rosicrucians, ceremonial magicians, that were probably aware of like the Knights Templar and those teachings, and teachings of that nature, which the Illuminati would also be considered part of that. So we have an elite ruling class. We always have. It's just, it's reaching the next phase right now. Um, they have access to this information. They have access to how energy moves, and they also have access to technology. So that's a dangerous combination. Now, I'm not saying that to get people fear-based, because our spirits are still stronger than anything they can throw out at us. But understand, they know, what's going on with, they know Mercury's going retrograde. They know the phases of the moon. They know how to manipulate energy through ceremonies as well as through technology. They know how to program the masses. All that's known. So, again, know thy enemy. Don't be afraid of your enemy, but know thy enemy. And yeah, if you're a sovereign being that wants to organically grow spiritually in this human life, that's the enemy. However, let's get a little bit broader with that. We created that enemy. This is what we created as a collective to reach our next level of spiritual evolutions. We have to understand that side of it also, that it's not a random thing that it's good versus evil, that every freaking movie and book is about good versus evil, and we're indoctrinated into that thinking, into that duality since day one. It's something that's been created by the collective, because as we overcome that duality and we tame the beast, that's the strength card in the tarot. We tame the beast, then the dark gets assimilated into the light, or maybe vice versa, because the light actually came from the dark, basically. It came from the void of non-existence. There's a big bang, and then all of a sudden there was light, right? So anyway, uh, Mr. Floyd, thank you for that. That sums it up beautifully. Thank you. Thank you for bringing up Africa. That tends to be a lost continent, and there's a lot of ugliness going on in Africa, as has always been the case. And I could spend hours just talking about that too. And my knowledge is very limited, so you have an idea there. But we got this white witch, be the light. So we're all witches, and warlocks is actually the term given to the oppressors of Wicca. So it's not even, it's kind of a misnomer, but it is taken in the English language to mean a male witch. But whatever the case, we're creating our reality all the time. So be the light. So we were talking about that. Be the light, and there's a pentacle. There's an owl. Is that an owl? I don't know. Do owls have antlers? Wait a second. What is that? Somebody clue me in here. But owls are wisdom. Owls are natural totems to mediums like myself, because they're the night eagles. They're the beings. Like the eagles illuminate the day. They illuminate the path of spirit. The owls illuminate the night. So that's a very important totem. But this one appears to have antlers, like the elk or the deer, which represents strength but gentleness. So the deer is strength through gentleness, because deer are hugely strong animals. Don't get into a tussle, with a 200 to 300 pound deer. You're not going to win that fight. As gentle and tame as they are, they're very, very powerful beings, and there's a lot of strength and meekness. What is it? The meek shall inherit the earth. Meek is not weak. Weak is not meek. Meek is strength. Meekness is strength. Uh, and there's a lot of like green stuff, like very Celtic, energy with that, and a lot of green in her hair. So again, be the white witch. What does that mean? Be positive and understand that your positiveness has the power to bend reality. That's what magic, magic with the K, that is. That's what magic is. It's the ability to bend and shape physical reality. But it's not just ceremonial magic, Wicca. all cultures have known how to do that, and you guys are doing it, so you know how to do that also. So we have a choice. We can allow ourselves to feed on the fear and to feel fearful ourselves and to create reality based on that, or we have the power to trust, to find our heart, find our spirit, to go into our heart and to not allow that fear to influence us, rather to be the light again. So I think I explained that message in a couple of ways. I think we're good, right? Beautiful totem, yes indeed. Nice, be the light. Ear tufts on owls. Okay, horned owl. Oh yes, yes. Of course, of course. Thank you for that. Great horned owls. Yes, yes, absolutely. So thank you for that. Alchemy, beautiful, beautiful. We're already alchemists. Learn how to turn the energy of lead into gold. Uh, Within every cloud, there's a silver lining. What other metaphors? Within the yin yang symbol, there's always a bit of yang in the yin in the yang. All right, that's enough metaphors, right? Let's pick our frequency for the week. This is a very long tarot time today, but we are in a very you know changeable time now. This is showtime, so during the fall, there's likely to be more special events on the Medium channel. As things start to evolve, and we need to really, gain some clarity for that. So the frequency from the Sacred Geometry card by Lan, is Tantric Journey. Interesting, interesting. So being that the delay's not too bad today, and you can actually see the cards. Um, the idea is you want to meditate, you want to take in the sacred geometry and let it fill you and get your own messages. So I'll hold this for a second for you guys. You can do that. Um, and then I'll read their description or her description. The frequency of tantric journey helps us to unlock the hidden knowledge and wisdom that we intrinsically hold about how to reach a state of wholeness and completion through our sensual experiences in ourselves and with another. Um, and not to get I don't know what the right word is. Um, well, we'll just broaden it and say sex, not but whatever. And then there's some teachers that good teachers that talk about if you have sex, especially if it's a solo act, but if you have sex, basically you're leaking energy, like the what is it called, the Christ oil or the sacred fluids or whatever. Instead of circulating, they come out in the ejaculation. I mean, that's for men, I guess, more than women, although it comes out in a different way. And I debate that. I'm like, no. When I to me, it's a sacred act. I'm forming a union with the goddess, with the divine. There's no energy lost or wasted. I mean, that's my own take. You guys may have a different opinion on that, but the only reason I bring that up is that tantra is really kind of like the spirituality behind like sacred sexuality. Now there's white tantra also that's not sexual, so it goes beyond that. And so I'm talking more about what's called red tantra, and it's basically for the guys, semen retention is a thing of is a way of raising vibration. Controlled ejaculations is a way of cultivating the energy, and tantra is like a yoga form in a way, anyways, where you can cultivate this energy and you can bring these these events that happen in our lower chakras up into the upper chakras. So anyway, that's my little discussion on tantric journey for you guys. Uh, and So what else do we have? Animals, and more animals. Unless here's my deck. Mother De Beer's diamond. Oh wow, yes, that's pretty high end. Thanks for sharing that. Oh, there's Susan. All we were talking about you earlier. Yeah, if you missed that part, in a good way, of course, in a good way. All right, so I've got not Ted Andrews, Steve Farmer, farmer messages from your animal spirit guides. Let's see what our animal spirit guides have for us today. They drew me to this card. Mouse, very interesting. People, negatively have negative connotation about mice, don't they? And what did he say? You're overlooking some important details, so pay closer attention to what's going on. Mice, I was going to say mouses. I guess that's marginally correct. Mice is the energy of scrutiny. The reason being is that the mice will only really know what their whiskers touch and what's around them. They don't see the big picture. So the gift of mouse medicine, according to the Native Americans, the ability to scrutinize and to be able to discern information through scrutinization. Um, and again, you're overlooking some important details, so pay closer attention. So I think again, it's saying don't even believe me. Do your own research. Take what I'm saying, as guidance, but do your own research. Don't believe what you're told. Do your own research and use people like myself or anybody else that you admire. I mean, hopefully you admire me, but if not, then you move on to somebody else. There's a lot of good teachers out there, but you need to find your own answers, and sometimes that takes scrutiny, especially because a lot of information is hidden because the powers that be don't want us to be empowered. They don't want us to know. God forbid we become spiritual and see through the whole game. Their whole game would collapse. They don't want that. So attacks against spirituality on many, many different levels. So for some of you, it's a personal situation that you're not seeing. You're overlooking some important details. So pay more attention, be more present, see through the heart, not the eyes, and that's going to help you to uncover those details you might be missing. And you may get your answers that way. So last but not least, let me just end with an angel message. Sorry that we're running way over today, although being that there's still 40 on, I've only lost about 4 or 5 people apparently. Apparently you guys aren't minding that, so thank you. Um, all right, so asking for a little angel message to tie things up. We've got Caressa. Interesting. And this is sort of in line with a lot of the stuff that we're experiencing. You are at the end of a cycle in your life. Call upon your angels to comfort you and to guide you to your next step. Happiness awaits you there. So be willing to let go of things that aren't worth holding on to anymore. That can be what's happening in the world. That could be something that's happening in your own personal life. Talk about in the tarot cards that, and this is an ongoing thing. It's not just this week, but some of you, if not many of you, may be losing a friend or two that you no longer see eye to eye with. It's just the end of a cycle. You're evolving to your next level. Not everybody is, basically. You're open and aware of the truth. You're not afraid of criticism. You're not afraid to be wrong. You're not purely in your ego. You're just basically here to learn and grow and to make a difference in this amazing, albeit hard times, and to try to ease suffering where you can, right? So understand that maybe you're at the end of a cycle, and like anything else, there's a mourning period when that happens. There's sadness, there's tears sometimes, but that's just part of life. From every death, there's a new beginning, there's a new birth. So let's be graceful in our death process, in our symbolic shamanic death experience now, individually, as a community, and as a global community, or even an interplanetary community. Let's be okay and empowered in that process, because after death is a rebirth. That's why the Celtics celebrate Samhain or Halloween as the new year, because that's when everything's dying. They recognize death as the true beginning of life, just like the void is the true beginning of light. So again, it's all came from darkness. So that's what I have for you guys today. Oh, thank you. Hit the like button. Yes, I love you for that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So I don't know when I'll be on next. I just got back from Lilydale less than 2 days ago. I'm still landing, but I'm gonna, again, there'll be some more live streams coming up, and no Thursday uploads until after Labor Day, but everything else on the channel is reactivating. So yes, we'll have our short form videos, we'll have our live streams, and then we'll be back to full operations after Labor Day. I love you. Thanks for being on this journey with us, and we'll see you next time.